It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
And we're back right after the 4th of July. It was Independence Day. Hope you guys had a good one. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
Time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris from Slumberland at the Lake. We'll look back at the 4th of July holiday, plus local artists paints the town as they revitalized the Strip. Pretty cool. Did you see that?
That's very cool and very needed, too, because Strip really has kind of gone downhill the last few years. It needs some help, and it looks like it's getting it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Plus, we're so excited. This week, the wait is over. The LOZ features doc series is here.
It's beautiful. It is one of the most beautiful things on Lake TV I think I've ever seen. It's gorgeous.
Maybe our best work to date. We'll tell you about that. Plus, remember the name Bo Shore, Chase Elliott, both worked here at Lake TV, now doing bigger, better things than ever before. We're going to tell you about their movie, officially funded. Big event coming up this week you're not going to want to miss. That and a whole lot more. But first, Slumberland's 4th of July blowout still going on. To tell us more, Daryl Cunningham.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture. We're in the midst of our 4th of July sale. You need to come in and check out all the great deals. We have specials for every room of the house. And don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. We also have some great deals on financing. Check us out, Slumberland Furniture. We're bringing happy home.
All right, so just like that, 4th of July, it's come and it's went. Did you guys have a good 4th of July holiday?
Yeah, very good. Kind of a little quiet, a little more quiet than usual. Not as many family members coming in, but for us, that's even better. You know, less stress, stuff like that. So yeah, it was great, fantastic, and we've still got all of our digits, so we're good.
Well, that makes one of us. You see, just kidding. They're still here. That's because I don't touch them. I don't touch them.
That's right. Fireworks kind of freak you out, don't they?
Yeah, just bad experiences.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, needless to say. But all right, so one thing that happened, Lake Expo over the weekend, you see the article about the family from Nebraska that pulled 10 skiers behind their boat.
I didn't see that until you sent it over to me, and I was like, wow, really? And I started watching the video. That was crazy. That's amazing what they were able to do.
So, you know, back in the day, they used to do crazy skiing events and things where you'd see, 5 skiers on the bottom row, then you'd see 4 standing on their shoulders, then 3. I mean, you'd get these tiers, and so it kind of brought us back to that. But it was over the weekend. The Wentz family from Hardington, Nebraska. Are you familiar with that?
Not familiar with where that is.
Because you're a Nebraska guy.
Well, my wife's from Nebraska.
You guys lived there for a little bit, go back there a lot. You like the Huskers, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, they suck, but we still pull for them, absolutely.
Yeah, but you remember the days of Tom Osborne. They didn't suck back then.
They were great, national champions. And one of our good buddies, Gary Pinkel, former Mizzou coach, we talked football with him all the time, and he loved Tom Osborne. He was a great guy.
You can say that he's your buddy. I'm not sure he'd say he's my buddy. I'm his number one fan. He might tell you that, the super fan that he has a restraining order against. But Uncle Chris is definitely his buddy. So Hardington, Nebraska is where they're from. And you can see in their cove at the 21-mile marker, they attempted to pull 10 people ages 9 to 44, and it was behind their Cobalt R7. It took 3 tries, but they eventually got it done. The patriarch of the family, Jim Wentz, at 72, said, "It was pretty amazing. One of my sons had a ski go in between his son's skis, so they managed to save it, believe it or not."
That sounds a little dangerous right there.
No doubt about it. Now, in previous years, they had pulled 8 to 9 skiers, and the eldest son, Paul, suggested, hey, let's try 10. And his brother, Keith, and him, they each used 2 mismatching slalom skis to make it work.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that
That's
means.
where they can go like in and out and stuff like. You ever seen those downhill slalom skiers doing that? That's a slalom.
Oh,
ski.
like, I've seen that down the side of the mountain, but slalom. You learn something new every day. Now, Jim said all of our family likes to ski, and they usually start as early as 5 or 6. Wow. Believe it or not. They love coming to Grandma's condo and going out on Grandpa's boats. They've been coming to the lake since 1987, but they first visited back in '69, and they stayed at Lakeview Resort. They've got 19 grandchildren, and they love the lake. They said that they're planning on coming down the rest of the year, making lots more memories. But that's the Wentz family from Hardington, Nebraska. 10 skiers. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's greatness. And they just went out and figured out how to do that on their own. You know, one of the things, when I was watching the video, did you notice how all those ropes were kind of tied together and tangled together? And I guess they had to do that to try to spread them out
Correct.
or something. But they did that on their own. But you know, it's not a world record because like you were talking about, we've seen pictures here at the lake in the past of layers of skiers on top of skiers and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. But man, that is awesome.
Yeah, definitely had to take some ingenuity and probably trial and error because they said they'd done 8 and 9 before, so they know the concept, which is foreign to me. But yeah, you noticed all the different directions and knots and stuff going. Probably helped them stay spread out because I was wondering, how do you keep them spaced out in an even amount?
I don't know. That's a good question. Unless just the skis enable them to stay in a certain row or something. I don't know. But and if one goes down, that blows it all up.
Right.
So.
But super cool. Now, in honor of Independence Day, I pulled, courtesy of Good Housekeeping, some cool 4th of July facts, and I was going to run through just a few of them. You probably know.
I love this stuff.
Well, you love, because if you watch the, top of the hour, you do a lot of the historical trivia and stuff. As I look through these, though, one that I thought was interesting, Independence Day should have been celebrated on July 2nd and not July 4th.
Isn't that interesting? Okay, so, and I didn't know this, it says, although the document was dated July 4th, Congress actually voted for independence from Great Britain 2 days prior on July 2nd. It apparently wasn't signed by everyone until a month later in August, but, and John Adams, the second president and one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, he would not celebrate it on July 4th. He would only celebrate Independence Day on July 2nd.
Isn't that
so
wild?
that is wild. I'd never heard that before.
Speaking of John Adams, he also wrote a letter to his wife, kind of foreseeing what was going to happen with Independence Day. And he told her in this letter how memorable and important Independence Day would be in American history. He said it's going to be celebrated eventually with parades, bonfires, fireworks, and very accurate. But also, like you said, he was known to turn down invitations to 4th of July celebrations because he protested that in his correspondent with his wife, Abigail Adams, he only referred to Independence Day as July 2nd. Interesting, right?
Yeah, love that. And then, of course, most of us learned in school that Thomas Jefferson was the main author of the Declaration of Independence. Most people know that. John Hancock, the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence, and that's why we say today, you want to give me your John Hancock, meaning you want to give me your signature. That's the reason why. And if you see a copy of the Declaration, his is the biggest signature on there.
Which is significant because the Founding Fathers, to sign this, they were under a lot of scrutiny and personal attacks. And so the fact that a lot of these guys signed it literally small, not to have attention called to their name. John Hancock, not only the first, but the most bold and largest, and said, look, here I am, come get me. And so, you hear that phrase. You probably heard it your whole life. Can I get your John Hancock?
Absolutely. You betcha. And that is definitely a common thing where I grew up anyway.
I just mean people always asking for your autograph.
Oh, no, that doesn't happen very often.
Put your John Hancock right here on me, would you?
You're right. Only you get that because you're young and pretty. But, these guys that signed the Declaration of Independence, they were basically signing a war against Great Britain. So they were coming. Great Britain was coming after them. So
no doubt about it. Now a couple other things. The Liberty Bell, in Philadelphia, rings 13 times every Independence Day to honor the 13 original states. 3 presidents who signed the Declaration of Independence actually died on July 4th.
Right.
Is that ironic?
Yeah, that's weird.
Don't you celebrate on the wrong day?
And 2 of them died on the same July 4th day.
John Adams and Thomas Jefferson.
And they didn't like each other.
1826, rivals who couldn't stand each other. And the 50th anniversary of the independence, James Monroe died in 1831.
Trivia question, how many presidents have been born on July 4th?
1.
I don't think there's been any.
There was.
Was there really?
There is on here. It's actually in here. There's 1 president that was born on the 4th of July.
So there you go.
I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Okay, so here's one weird. back when the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Yeah.
Back in July of 1776, there's 2.5 million people estimated to live
Only
in the
2.5
United States.
million.
Sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward to 331 million.
331.
150 times back in 1776.
Yeah, there weren't many people back then, not nearly as many as there are now. So in the whole United States, or the 13 colonies, there was only 2.5 million. I mean, there's, 10, 20 million in New York City and Los Angeles alone.
Right.
So, craziness. I love this stuff. Let's see. Yeah, you got the 3 presidents who died on July 4th. The Liberty Bell, I was wondering though, because the Liberty Bell is cracked. So I wonder how they ring that now so that it doesn't break. I wonder if they just go like ding it or something like that. I wonder how they do that.
We'll have to look into that. A couple other things. Oh, here you go. Calvin Coolidge was the only president born on the 4th of July.
Okay, I did not know that. I didn't think there were any born on July 4th.
Calvin Coolidge.
I'll be darned.
And it didn't become a federal holiday until 1870. And I love this, and this is important because as you look at, we hear so much the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, our constitutional rights, different phrases. Did you know that Thomas Jefferson believed that a new Constitution should be drafted and written every 19 years?
That is weird.
And brilliant.
That is weird. I don't know if it's brilliant or not, because the only reason why we've stayed a country as long as we have is because we have the Constitution and we adhere to the Constitution. And that's part of the problem about what's going on in our country right now is people are trying to make up a new Constitution and blow off, what the founding fathers actually wrote. So I was surprised when I saw that. Because if we wrote a new Constitution every 19 years, we would be a completely different country, man. We would just, it would not be the country we have today.
Well, here's what Thomas Jefferson put a letter to James Madison. He asked, if one generation of men has the right to bind another, saying that otherwise the lands would belong to the dead and not to the living, which would be the reverse of our principle of freedoms.
Yeah. So what that means is every 19 years you could come back and decide, we want slavery back. Let's put that in the new Constitution, or anything like that. They could change, what the edicts of how things are operating in the land, and I'm sure they would change every 19 years. It would be. I think we'd have war every 19 years over that.
But the Constitution has changed because when it was drafted, slavery was legal.
Yeah.
And even though it said that all men are created equal, regardless of race, creed, or indifference, that was not the case. And so it is morphed and grown.
That's an amendment to the Constitution.
Correct.
Right,
and
absolutely.
So I think amendments have come in, and at times they are necessary. But Thomas Jefferson, I think that's an interesting point, that if they don't have amendments or have things changed, meaning the rule that the living are going to live by are actually made by the dead, meaning that every generation is bound to that generation of men that are dead. So it's an interesting point, especially in today.
It is an interesting thought for sure.
And here's one you'll like. Americans eat around 150 million hot dogs each 4th of July.
I think I eat about 100 million of those.
Half of
just
those
on
are by
my own.
Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi.
Have you seen them eat hot dogs?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
Looks like me at the buffet in Vegas. They put the all-you-can-eat crab legs. Just dip it in water, shell and all, baby.
Incredible. I talked to Joey Chestnut one time. He was getting ready for a competition, and that competition wasn't hot dogs, it was hot peppers. Ooh. And so he put down like 20 hot peppers in, literally it was like 20 seconds. And he was like, somebody else that I wouldn't do that with him because I would have gotten sick. Somebody else that did with him got like 3 of them down in 20 seconds and then they came right back up. I don't know how those people do that. It's incredible.
And it's typically the smaller guys.
Yeah.
Like Kobayashi was the first that won a handful of years before Joey Chestnut came onto the scene, and he's kind of blown him out of the water. But it's typically those smaller guys. It's like, how?
I know, and the girl too, right?
Yeah.
She's tiny and stuff like that. I don't know how they do that.
And that can't be good for your health, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Stretching your stomach lining, your esophagus. I mean, it's just all of that carbohydrates, saturated fat, and sodium in one sitting.
Something like hot dogs, if you have too many for me, if I have too many hot dogs, it's no good. How can you eat like 70 hot dogs in one sitting. I have no idea. And I think they have to keep it down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to follow through on that.
That's wild.
Jeez.
The only eating thing that I did that I regret was that one chip challenge. So when you say those peppers,
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of the aftermath and
Oh.
the, you know. And we did a pepper eating contest at the amphitheater
Did you?
for the Pumpkin Chunkin' Palooza a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they had to do the different peppers, and some guy ended up having to go to the hospital.
Oh, man.
You know,
That's crazy.
intense.
I just had to laugh when you and DJ Kyle and who was it,
Megan?
Megan, that did the one chip challenge, the really hot chips. But you cracked me up because you're like screaming, ah!
It's worse than you think it could be.
Oh, I can't
'Cause
imagine.
I love
Oh,
hot. You know, I
man.
love hot.
Oh, and DJ Kyle said, "Well, I was fine," and then about an hour later, it hit me, and I was
He
in
had to
trouble.
cancel his gig. He had
Oh.
to get relief and
Oh.
leave his gig that night. He was
Man.
hurting so bad.
So I think you guys ought to do but we were talking about it last week here on the show. You need to do the like the fish challenge. It's fermented fish. And you open it up and just the smell, people start gagging, so
I'm good.
That would be class. I wouldn't be able to be in the room for that, but I'd sure watch the show.
I'm good on that. All right, so as we move forward, you see the local artist is really revitalizing the Bagnell Dam Strip. Garrett Jackson, who's been painting professionally for about 10 years, is now doing it full time. He used to be a teacher at the Camden School District for kindergarten through 4th grade, but he paints these murals.
Yeah.
And if you go down to the Bagnell Dam Strip up there, kind of across from Grandma's Candy Kitchen and Summer USA, they've got that fencing. And he's painting this mural at night of the strip in a lot of those businesses. And it's pretty cool. One of the things they note, Chris, is the impressive speed at which he works. Now, according to Jackson, a mural like the one you see here takes about 5 to 7 days. Jackson owes this to how much he enjoys the process, working so fast. Just beautiful. And this art and different murals and paintings in vacation destinations are a really growing industry. You see them all over, wherever you go, and it's cool to see the lake getting this.
Yeah, and it's important too. It's a really good thing because the strip has diminished in its prettiness over the years. I don't know what the right word, but it's looking kind of downtrodden, right? And there's lots that are kind of not looking very good, and a lot of the buildings kind of run down. We do need to revitalize the strip, and I think George Tucker's doing a good job. The Bricks are doing a good job,
Pages.
with their buildings and stuff and revitalizing those areas. But there's still a lot of, we've used the word blight, recently talking about some land being blighted. There are some places on the strip that look blighted. They look like they really need to be revitalized, helped out. It's nice to see this happening. And it's interesting here at the Lake of the Ozarks. Most of the people from out of town that come here, they want to go to the strip. They want to see what the strip looks like. They want to check it out and stuff like that. You would think we would have done a better job over the years of making sure that's a showcase area that everybody who comes to the lake and goes to the strip, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the neatest place ever.
Yeah.
And right now it is struggling and it needs a lot of revitalization. Nice to see that starting to happen.
And it was contracted by Lakeshore Holdings, and they're the company that commissioned these murals. Now, they manage and develop the property on the Bagnell Dam Strip. The Reese family, Lakeshore Holdings, was founded in 2009 by Nick Reese. Actually used to be our landlord.
Wow.
When we were down there on the strip, and they own a ton of that, from the old batting cages area and the arcade, and at the very end. And when asked about the murals, Reese said, the response to the community has been fantastic. You're going to like this. We've been working hard over the last several years to revitalize the strip, so we're excited about finding new opportunities like this. He goes on to say, we're open to any opportunities on the strip to help revitalize it and fix it up, Reese said. So he says, we're open to anyone's comments and suggestions on where we can find opportunities to do so moving forward. And so if I had the choice, I'm like, all right, well, let's put the batting cages back. Let's get an indoor arcade. They've been talking about that for years, but this is a step in the right direction, and just super pretty. And you're right. I mean, you go down to the strip, what would we do if it weren't for George Tucker, the Bricks, and the Pages? And I know there's a lot of businesses on the strip that have been there for a while. You've got La Fada's, you've got a lot of t-shirt shops, you've got the barber shops, some great restaurants. But, with George Tucker, with Tucker Shuckers and Neon Taco, and of course the Sky Trail, those are really visually the hook on the strip, you know? And so it's nice to see the paintings and some complimentary things, because I'd love to see that continue, because you're right, Chris. People come to the lake, they still have the memory, the nostalgic moment growing up of coming down 10-cent skee balls, bumper boats, the maze, you know, going to Grandma's Candy Kitchen, Summer USA. And so they want to revisit that and show their kids, and it's getting harder. So this is definitely something pretty
Absolutely. You know, and if you go to any other like vacation destination resort, I mean, take Branson, for example. They've done a great job. All the roads, the highways in and out of Branson are usually very well kept up. They're pretty, they're well mowed. People get a sense of, oh, this is a really nice place. And then they've been able to revitalize like the landing there and stuff like that. Kudos to Branson. They've done a great job of maintaining a lot of those things, and even the old stuff, making them, so that they still look pretty nice and pretty new. Down on the Strip, we haven't done a great job of that. And on Old Osage Parkway, we haven't done a great job of that either. There's still a lot of old, kind of ratty, ugly looking buildings down there that need to be revitalized. But I think that's all starting to happen. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And I will tell you, there's so much that is coming down to the lake. So we're going to see new efforts, new projects, and new things like that. But I can tell you, Chris, growing up, my grandparents, we'd come stay with them. They bought the Country Kitchen in Eldon, like in 2000. And when we did, part of our tradition was they took us down to the Strip. There was 10-cent skee ball down there. We'd get an ice cream cone. You know, there used to be the slingshot thing right across. You could watch people go up.
Yep.
That was just part of it, growing up. And I know people feel that and want to make the Strip part of their trip down here. And so hopefully there'll be more of that, and hopefully someone with your kind of money will come in and do something massive.
Shoot. Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that we let it get away from us for so long, that it has looked as bad as it's looked. But I think that's changing now, and we've got great business leaders. We seem to have really good city leaders and mayors and stuff like that. So I think that's all on the mend and working its way back.
Yeah, I want to see, like you see outside of St. Louis, or some of these rural areas like Chesterfield and St. Charles, like when you come in, you see from the overpass a beautiful flower mural and some rock work. It says, welcome to beautiful, Osage Beach, Missouri, or welcome, just when you're going to Lori there by the shrine, there's that really nice, the west side, but they've kind of let it go. They haven't cleaned it, they haven't, and so it's like those things, I'm surprised our municipalities and Parks and Rec or whatever, Public Works, haven't done more
Me too.
with, because, so many people come down here. There's areas you can access the lake that it's like, we'll turn around and go back.
Exactly. I mean, if you get, I don't know how many people come here. I mean, the
430 million this year.
The favorite term is about 10 million a year. Okay, if there's 10 million people coming in from out of town, you want to make a great impression. You want them to go, man, this is the nicest, neatest place ever. And we really haven't done that. We do have the nicest, neatest lake ever, apparently, because we keep getting #1 lake in the nation thing. But we've let some of the on-land stuff fall off a little bit. But again, I think that's changing. One
of the iconic landmarks that always stays beautiful and impressive is Slumberland at the lake. So
you
always got that. All right, so as we move ahead, hey, by the time you see this, it's probably already airing, but July 6th, Thursday, debuts Season 2 of the LOZ featured doc series. Listen, you can watch it starting July 6th through September 27th, every single day at 9:17 a.m., 3:17 p.m., and 7:17 p.m. every single day. The debut new episode starts Thursday at 7:17. Of course, this Thursday we start 12 episodes this year. The whole thing made possible by our good friend Jonathan Hartenstein, broker associate with Lake Ozark Real Estate. Got to give a shout out. We've got Aquapalooza, Aquapalooza. It's on my mind because it's next weekend. We got Aquapest, Pest Solutions. We got Polylift Boat Lifts. We've got our veterinary, we've got Sir Ike Yamaha, all part of this series. And then our DOP, Andrew Evans, the one who also runs this and edits this, has crushed this series this year. It's by far his greatest work. And also Daniel Carnahan, who has been our second hand, flying drone and running the second camera and helping with the cinematography and some of the stuff. The guys have crushed it, and I'm confident it's going to be our best work yet. So make sure you tune in. That is going to be an awesome series. And the docs we got to showcase this year.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. So last year was the first year you did this series. LOZ featured doc-series. And, I mean, people loved that, right? I mean, we were talking before the show today. I mean, just one of those featured from last year has had how many views?
Okay, so the mega doc with Sean Baker has about 500,000 views. Just the YouTube link from it has 120,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's been huge on Roku, it's been huge on Facebook, it's been huge on Instagram. And the funny thing was, it's gaining popularity.
Yeah.
Because it had like 40,000 views about a month ago, and it's starting to take off. And so
as good as last year's was, and I mean as popular as it was, this year just blows that out of the water. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
you got to see these docs.
It's going to be awesome. Again, every Thursday for a new episode. By the time you watch this, most likely it's already past Thursday, 7:17 p.m. for the debut. But then every single day at 9:17 a.m., 3:17 p.m., and 7:17 p.m. It's going to be awesome. But you can watch on demand on Facebook, on Roku, and on YouTube as soon as the episode debuts on Thursday. It'll be posted by Friday to all of our on-demand platforms, so you can watch it that way as well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the job you guys do, and you talk about Andrew Evans, our director of photography, and just amazing job. The drone flights, I love those drone flight pictures.
And
just amazing.
And Blake DeBallo, who has been
great editor,
being one of our top editors for a handful of years now, is really handling all the heavy lifting with Andrew in post-production and is just crushing it. Last night he sent over 3 videos in a few hours from 2:30s in a transition sequence. I mean, these guys are exceeding all expectations and crushing it.
You guys should be at one of our staff meetings every week. So we get together every week and we're just amazed at the amount of great stuff our staff is able to produce. And we don't have a big staff. It's a pretty small staff, but they're also amazingly talented. The stuff we're able to do is just phenomenal.
And a couple former staff of Lake TV. We have Bo Shore, who worked an internship with us, and then Chase Elliott, who was an intern during high school, and then he came on full-time, and then he also worked part-time as he went out and ventured into his own career. And I'm telling you what, we did a sit-down interview with them on Mic'd Up about 8 months ago. Do you remember their At Niangua's Inn short film? They were trying to get it funded. Guess thinking what?
Wow.
Mission accomplished. Hollywood producer Gina Goff is officially behind him. Thursday the 6th at the amphitheater. If you missed it, because it's coming like a freight train, you could check out our coverage from it. But Bo Shore and Chase Elliott, 2 of the filmmakers in the show. Bo also stars in it as an actor. But this is becoming a major motion film, and you're invited for the LO Profile launch Thursday, July 6th from 5 to 7 at the Ozarks Amphitheater. If you didn't get a chance to make it out to that, you could check out some photos on my Facebook, William Holtz Lake TV page, and I did a little stand-in with the guys as well. But how crazy. We sat down with them, we were like, this looks good, this movie looks really good. I wonder if it will get funded. And just in a matter of months, local film production major Gina Goff, she's a producer who's done some big films in the industry. She's there. They've also got support from the state of Missouri with Andrea Spurrick. I think her last name is Spurrick, but she's with the Missouri Film Commission. I mean, they've got a ton of dignitaries and people involved in this.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of these guys and cannot wait to see this come to fruition.
And they're the nicest guys in the world. You sit down, talk with them, they're just great guys, so they've earned everything they're getting, and hopefully this will just be a massive success for them.
Yeah, Chase is one of the most talented, creative minds. I knew he was going to go on to do big things, and it's really cool for me getting to work with both of those guys, and now to see them doing this kind of thing. And I was texting with them, and I got a few quotes. They're both really excited. They're kind of in the funding and the way the process worked. I got to hurry here, but they wanted to see more, so they got them kind of a conceptual idea, and the producer liked it so much, she's like, okay, I want to do it, and it's all coming to fruition. So good for them, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll keep praying for you. Hopefully that will all go well.
So much stuff happening on Lake TV right now. We told you about the doc series, but also the monthly market update with Bruce and Kelly team is out. We're out the International Raceway.
Yep.
Just crazy.
Looks great.
Check that. And don't forget, this week on the Community Spotlight, spotlight Dr. Elizabeth Bowman with COMC.
Yeah, great lady, and we get to know all about her and more about COMC.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's Cup of Coffee. Until next week, my friends, I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
We'll see you next week.